The Seattle real estate market is starting to change. So if you're a buyer thinking about purchasing a home in the Seattle metropolitan area soon, make sure you stay tuned. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that little bell so you get notified of all of my future videos. I love making videos all about what it's like living here in Seattle and the local real estate scene. People just like yourself here from YouTube reach out to me all the time with questions when they're moving over here, needing some help on purchasing a home when they make the move over here. So if that's you and you need some help, feel free to reach out to me here at my info on the screen. I am an active real estate agent over here. But like I said on this video, I'm going to talk about the Seattle real estate market right now and what is happening, because we are seeing a shift. We are seeing things happen that we have not seen in 2+ years. So you got to know what's going on right now if you're planning to buy a home in the Seattle metropolitan area. So many people know, and this is not just unique to Seattle, this has been happening all over the country, but it's been an ultra competitive market over the last 2 years. Been fantastic for sellers. They've been able to get whatever price they want for their house. They can put the house on the market when it's not completely prepared properly and still get a great sales price on their house because things were so competitive. Buyers were so desperate that you'd get 5 to 10 to 20 offers on your house regardless of really maybe the condition or overpricing it to begin with. It didn't matter. There was no such thing as overpricing over the last couple of years because everything sold. However, I'm starting to see a change over the last 2, 3, 4 weeks here in the Seattle metro area. Like I said, I'm an active real estate agent, so I'm in this stuff on a day-to-day basis, seeing what's happening with homes, what's happening with offers and buyers and things like that. So homes that had previously been going within the first few days, I'm seeing many different cases where these homes are sitting for longer. They're sitting for 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 days. When previously, if they were listed on the market 2 months ago, would have sold within a couple of days with 3 to 5 to 10 offers. And now some of these homes are starting to sit for longer. So this is great news for you if you're a home buyer, because this is providing more leverage for you. You may not have to compete with nearly as many people as you would have the last 2 years really. So if you're somebody that's been sitting on the edge, you've been wanting to buy a home, but it's just been too difficult with how competitive it's been, you haven't been able to keep up with these multiple offer situations, we're going into a market right now which could be a prime opportunity for you to be able to get into a home with maybe being the only offer on the home, or one of 2 offers, one of 3 offers, and not one of 15 or 20 offers. So it is great news for you as a home buyer. Let's look at some of the stats here to kind of see what's been happening. Now, like I said, this is very recent in terms of trends, so we don't have a ton of data, a long-term obviously amount of data to support what this change that is starting to happen, the shift that is happening. We are early on in the shift here, but we can see the data of what's been happening in the last 2 years with insane price escalations, median home values going up 30 to 40 to 50% on an annual basis in some of these cities, which is just crazy and we can't keep up with. So here are some stats that show really what's been happening in April and May that are giving us an idea of what's changing with the market. So I've got my notes here. Let's look at the new listings, which are active listings. We want to look at the inventory in the market. A part of the reason why the real estate market was so tough the last couple of years is because the inventory was extremely low. We talk about supply and demand, basic economics. We had far more demand than we had supply in the market. So a lot of buyers competing on one single home. Now we're seeing inventory actually starting to go up a little bit. So for Snohomish County, in February, our total new listings that hit the market for residential homes in Snohomish County in February was 865. That was this last February of 2022. That has gone up to 1,300 in March, 1,400 in April, and now for May, we're in May here as I'm making this video, we are on pace for about 1,550 new listings in May. So you can see we have a steady increase of the amount of new listings going on the market every single month. That's providing more options to you as the buyer. Same story for King County, very similar story. In February, we're about 2,000 listings, new listings in the month of February. Then we went to 3,000 in March. April, we went to 3,200. And then in May here, we are on pace for just over 3,500 new listings. So we are seeing a very steady increase of new listings hitting the market. Again, this is just providing more options to buyers. It's creating a better proportion to the supply and demand kind of market where not as many buyers are competing on the same home. Now, another stat that we want to look at here is how much inventory we see. So we have a stat called months of inventory. So months of inventory means if no new listings came on the market, how long would it take for us to sell out of our current supply that's already on the market? So in the last couple of years, we've been seeing less than a month of inventory, meaning, hey, if nothing else comes on the market, everything will be gone within a month. And there were times where we saw a week worth of inventory. If nothing came on the market, everything would be gone in a week or 2 weeks. That's kind of where we've been the last couple of years. So this is the trend that we're seeing. This is the same for about King and Snohomish County. They're about the same. In February, we saw 0.4 months worth of inventory, pretty consistent with what we've been seeing the last 2 years. Went up to 0.5 in March, went up to 0.7 in April, and now in May, we're on pace for 1.5 months of inventory. Now, again, you look at that and you say, hey, that's still pretty low. Yes, it's not a buyer's market per se. You don't have all the leverage. But going from 0.4 in February to 1.5 in May is a very large increase. And that's great news for buyers because that is, again, proving that we have more inventory just sitting on the market, more options for you, which is going to decrease that competition. Now, outside of this, what's also affecting the market right now, you've probably heard, this is kind of the bad end of it. This is the negative end if you're a buyer, and these are the interest rates. Interest rates are up quite a bit. You know, there's a lot of people right now that are getting in right around 6%, some up above, you know, 6, 6.1, 6.2, 6.3. It depends obviously on your credit score, what loan type you're doing, your down payment. There's all sorts of things that factor into that. But average rates are getting right around 6% right now for a 30-year fixed mortgage. So, I mean, that's up from, you know, 4.5% just earlier this year, 4% earlier this year. So going up a whole 2% in the year since the beginning of this year is a big jump. That, of course, is going to affect how much you can qualify for. It's going to make your monthly payment more expensive. But that is one thing that is starting to also affect this market. One large thing that's affecting why the market is not so competitive anymore like it was the last 2 years when we had rates in the high 2s, low 3s when money was extremely cheap. Now we're just moving up back towards an average, you know, interest rate. Now, of course, when you look at historic trends of interest rates, 6% is actually still relatively low. There are years when rates were up over 10%. Now, of course, you can argue how home prices had not escalated to the point that they did back then, of course. So that's not to downplay rates right now. But because of these rates, it has taken some buyers off the table from being able to buy and provided some opportunities for other buyers that are still out there looking and not having to deal with so much competition. So this can be a great way for you to get in right now to a home and be able to get that offer accepted without having to compete so much with other buyers. Now, you're going to deal with that interest rate for a while. When rates go back down, whenever that is, a year, 2 years down the road, whenever that happens, you can then refinance out of that rate. If you get, you know, a 6%, a 6.2% right now, hey, when the rates go back down, maybe they'll go back down to 4% or something in the next couple of years, then go ahead and refinance and take advantage of that. But right now it's providing the opportunity for you to be able to get into a home without as much competition. You're just gonna have to sacrifice a little bit on those interest rates. Now, the most popular question I get asked, and a lot of, I'm sure, realtors get asked, is the market crashing? Is that why the market is changing? Are we starting to see a shift, economic recession, housing recession, anything like that? My opinion, and you'll find this opinion is very common throughout a lot of people that understand the market, is no, that is not what's happening. A housing crash is not coming, in my opinion. You know, you can see a recession in the economy without seeing a recession in the housing market, meaning housing prices falling. I don't see any possible way housing prices are going to fall. Now, to expect the market to continue what it's done the last 2 years, where median values in many cities were up 40% in 1 year, that can't happen consistently. There's no way we can keep up with that consistent 40% annual increase in home values. It cannot be supported. So I think those days are behind us. You know, who knows if they'll happen again down the road, but as of right now, I think those days are behind us, and we're gonna see more steady increases in median home values. You're talking maybe 5-10% would be probably my prediction, closer to around 10% increase in median home values, which is much more healthy for our market, not 40%. Now, there are some cities that are extremely hot and extremely desirable that will see higher increases than others. You're talking about the east side, like the Kirklands and the Bellevues and in those types of areas. There's plenty of cities around the Seattle metro where I would see median home prices increasing at a more steady rate. And this market, just as a whole, starting to shift a little bit more towards the buyer's end, a little bit more buyer friendly, where you have a little bit more leverage. Now, there are still plenty of homes, don't get me wrong, there's still plenty of homes in this market right now that are getting 3 to 5 offers on them. The nice homes, the well-prepared homes, they can still get relatively competitive. This isn't saying the market's completely flipped or anything, but there is a higher percentage of homes that are not getting multiple offers, or that are only getting 1 or 2 offers. They're not getting 10 offers anymore. And for sellers, the news for you here is the days of you being able to just throw your house on the market without preparing it properly are over. You really need to focus on getting your home prepared in the right way. If you're putting your home up for sale, do all the little things around your house. That's what matters. Fill all the nail holes. Fix the paint blemishes. If you've got baseboard or trim that's been chewed up by a dog, fix that. Do all the little stuff around the house. It makes a huge, huge difference when you're putting the house on the market. And when we start to shift into a little bit more of a buyer-friendly market, again, this is still a seller's market, not confusing that, but it's getting a little bit more friendly towards the buyers right now. You need to prepare your home properly, and just be aware of how the market can affect what's happening with your home. The last 2 years, you could throw your house up with little maintenance repairs, a lot of deferred maintenance in the house, and you could just throw it up and you get a great price for it the last 2 years. That's starting to come to an end. Prepare your home the right way if you want to maximize your sales price here in this new market that we're shifting into. But like I said, I think this market is going to grow at a much more steady rate. We're not going to see quite as insane of competition as we have seen the last couple of years, but it's still going to be an upward trend in home values. We don't see anything going negative, any home values dropping. There's no housing recession. A lot of people have plenty of equity in their home. This isn't 2008 where we have a subprime mortgage issue and people are negative on their equity, buying homes all the time, 0 down, and all this kind of stuff. There's a lot of equity on average in homes around here. So anybody that's in financial problems is not going to get foreclosed on. Likely they're going to be able to sell their home outright themselves. So these kinds of things, I don't see a flood of foreclosures happening, any negative drop in the housing market. Might get a few more foreclosures here and there, but overall, housing market's still going to be strong in my opinion. I just think it's going to increase at a much more steady rate. Again, this is just my personal opinion on kind of what I see on a daily basis and what I think is going to happen here in the short term. Nobody can predict, of course, what's going to happen in the long term, 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now. I wish we had a crystal ball and could see that, but just what I'm seeing right now, this is kind of what's going on. It's getting a little bit more friendly for you buyers. So if you've been sitting on the sideline, like I said, thinking about buying a home, this can be a good opportunity for you to get into the market without nearly as much competition. So like I said, I'm an active real estate agent over here. If you need some help through that process, guiding you through buying a home in this area, whether you already live here in the Seattle metro or you're moving from out of state and want to have someone to help you guide through that process of moving over here, finding that right home, finding that right neighborhood for you, be more than happy to help you out with that. Feel free to reach out to me here at my info on the screen. But like I said, feel free to subscribe to the channel here as well so you don't miss any of my future videos. Appreciate you guys watching this one.